Okay, guys. Hello. I think we're on. Welcome to Flirting with Meaning. This is your host, Jules, and today we're going to be talking about solo travel. I don't know why this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I think because it's summer now and I've been thinking of solo traveling again. For those who don't know, which is all of you, because this is the first time I'm talking about it, I've been solo traveling since I was 19 years old. My first time was when I ran away from home, lied to my family, and went across the country to California, and I stayed in a hostel in Venice for 10 days. Since then, I've went back and forth from America to Asia for like the past 5-6 years. So only recently did I travel with somebody else for the first time, and that was with my sister when we went to Italy in October. Oh my goodness. So there were some things I wanted to talk about, maybe like tips and tricks to make things easier for someone else who's maybe trying to start out in solo travel, or for someone who travels and they just want, some tips and tricks to make things easier for them. Sorry, I'm so tired. It's decaf, but it'll still give me a little something. Anyway, so I wrote down like a list of things because my mind goes all over the place when I'm trying to like say something or explain something. So I have it in a list. So I'm going to read from the list. The first thing that I think everybody should know this is specific to solo traveling. Something you should know when you're solo traveling. This might seem like not important, but I promise you, like, it is important. Did I close this? Okay. How are you going to take your pictures? How are you going to get your pictures taken? Because I promise you, it is so, especially if you're someone who's into fashion, like me, you're going to leave the place and be like, dang, I wish I got like better pictures. But it's kind of hard to take pictures by yourself if you're solo traveling. Because one, it's like, sometimes you can feel too shy to take pictures in front of other people, like selfie style. And also setting up a tripod in front of other people can kind of be a bit awkward too, if you're not used to it. So for me, I came up with a couple ways. I think you might have just seen what I was going to show you. But I started using this. It's a MagSafe for your phone. And you just stick it to a surface. Oh, I stuck it the wrong way. You stick it to the surface and you can take videos or pictures. Now for me, I never do self-timer, ever. Never, ever, ever. You'll never catch me doing self-timer. You know what's smart? You know what's easier? You know what'll help you get better pictures? When you record a video, right? Record a video and then go through the video, pause and screenshot. You'll get so many good pictures. So many good pictures that way. It might be like a little lower quality because I notice sometimes, depending on your phone, if you're recording a video, it's a little lower quality unless you have like one of the newer phones. Or if you're using a camera, you could do the same thing with the camera. You know, when you're going back and looking through it, you just pause and screenshot. And if you're in a touristy area, you can ask people to take your picture. I noticed that's something that I find a little easier to do. Like, if it's a very, very, very touristy area, 9 times out of 10, other people are going to be taking pictures of themselves too. And if there's like an understanding, like, oh, everybody is taking pictures in this spot, people are going to be willing to take the picture for you, especially if they see you're alone. That's happened to me so many times. There was one time in Korea, I was at some landmark and I was like awkwardly trying to like hold my phone up against like a cement wall. And these tourists from America, I didn't realize they were looking at me because I tried to tell myself no one's ever looking at me so I don't freak out. But I guess they were looking at me and they're like, are you good? Like, are you okay? And I was like, oh yeah, I was just trying to take my picture. And they're like, oh, we could take it for you. And I was like, oh, thank God. I mean, they offered, but I probably would have ended up asking somebody anyway. But taking pictures is so important for the memories. Even if you don't, what's the word? even if you're not like a super like picture person, like you are going to leave the place and like maybe a year from now look back and say, God, I wish I got more pictures from that place. I do that now for places that I did get a lot of pictures in. I'm like, oh, I wish I got a picture of me like standing in that one place that I remember. Get the pictures. It's never stupid. Get the pictures, okay? So that's the first thing that I think is important when it comes to solo traveling, is documenting pictures, videos. Like, you want to remember the place, you want to show people, scrapbook, anything. I saw this thing online. I don't remember like what it was, but it was like, oh, I post like a vlog and nobody sees it, so like what's the point of doing it? But it's like, it's also like something you can look back on like years and years and years from now. Something so nice that you can kind of look back on. So I agree with that point. I think you should always just take the pic, take the vid, upload, post, document your life, document everything. So yeah, the next thing is nourishing your body. Okay, this is super important and it seems a bit silly. Why did it get so dark in here? So I usually will bring like little nutrition bars with me everywhere I go, because something I'm always like scared of, I don't know if this is like an irrational fear, but it's going to a new place, waking up and being starving, or like waking up in the middle of the night and being starving and having no food to eat and having to wait until like cafes open up in the morning or something. And I'm like, what if I wake up at like 2 a.m. and my stomach's growling and I need food, but I don't have any? Because, you know, a lot of times you're eating at like restaurants, you're not going like food shopping, especially if you're like going to be somewhere for a temporary period of time, like only a couple days. Like, you're most likely not going food shopping to the grocery store, if there even is one like around you where you are. So I know that you can't bring liquids on a plane, but you can bring snacks, like packaged snacks. So if you have a little snack that you like for me, I love these like nutrition vegan bars with like chocolate and almonds. Bring that, because you never know when you're gonna need it. And even if you're out and about, like if that random wave of like hunger hits you, you gotta nourish your body. Like, don't go starving just because you know, are thinking like, oh, maybe in a couple hours, like I'm gonna go to the restaurant, so like whatever. Or if you're tight on money too, it's really good for saving money as well. And, you know, airport food is expensive. So if you, for some reason, try to avoid buying food in the airports as well, you can bring a bar. And you can also buy food in the airport and keep as snacks as well. So it's not something you have to bring before you get on the plane. Like, even after you land, like a convenience store in the place that you're at, just grab a little snack. What else? Okay, the next thing, I feel like this is more important than the last point. It is download music, bring your books, because in the hotel room, a lot of times, or hostel, you're gonna have downtime where you're just gonna be bored. Even if you're in like an amazing, beautiful place, like there's gonna be like a couple hours where you're just kind of just like chilling there, because either things aren't open yet, things just closed, you're about to go to bed. You're gonna want to listen to music or read a book or watch something. So I always bring my laptop or iPad with me, just in case like I want to, I don't know, watch something or type something, write, journal. Journaling is so important when you're traveling. I actually can't emphasize this enough. Like, bring a notebook, bring a pen, or even in like the notes app, journal your thoughts. I look back at things that I wrote years ago and oh my gosh, I sounded like some philosopher. So I definitely recommend keeping your thoughts like don't push down the thoughts, like let everything out, because I notice when you are solo traveling or just traveling in general, you feel like more, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe this is just me, but I'm like more like, oh my gosh, like this is what life's all about. Like, life has so much meaning. I'm so passionate. I romanticize everything and I just write. So that, and also on the plane, if you are taking a plane or a train, listening to music helps the ride go by faster for me. Like, let's see, when did these days I cannot go on a plane without listening to music. So I'll download playlists on Spotify so that I don't need like Wi-Fi, because sometimes the planes don't have Wi-Fi. Actually, a lot of times they don't. So downloading can help you. Oh, also, sometimes like airplanes have music like in the screen, like for you to, and they have like the headphones. They always have like the weirdest music options, even if it's from like popular artists. I don't know. I'm just like, who picks these? But so I definitely recommend bringing a good pair of headphones, downloading your music, journaling, just something to like keep you occupied. I also noticed that I love to consume like inspiring things when I'm out traveling. Like, I would much rather lay on a beach in Italy, like reading a book, than like sitting in like some gross, I don't know, like thing in my hometown. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll cut this part out because it sounds insane, but I just feel like I romanticize everything when I'm abroad or not home. So maybe other people will feel the same way. Like, it just makes you feel more, can enjoy things more. I don't know, I feel like I am so bad at explaining what I mean when I say certain things, but yeah. Anyways, so that brings me to my next point, which is having a takeoff song. A takeoff song. This is self-explanatory. So for me, something that really gets me going for my trip is having a takeoff song. And this is when you put in your noise canceling headphones when the plane is taxiing, and as you're taking off, you are listening to a song that makes you feel so free and so alive. And by the time the song finishes, you are like gaining altitude, like, so it's, for me, for years and years and years, ever since Taylor Swift came out with her album Lover, I've had Cruel Summer as my takeoff song every time I fly. Like, I cannot fly without listening to Cruel Summer as we're taking off. I know sometimes people will play like Free Now, live from Vivo version by Gracie Abrams for the bridge. That also I feel like I'm gonna try next time, because I haven't flown since I heard it for the first time. So just something, it's just a little something, it's not that important, but it's like a little like thing that might make you feel like, wow, especially if you're a nervous flyer. Let's see, what else? How are you getting from point A to point B? Okay, now this sounds more simple than it actually is. However, I went to Italy, right, with my sister in October. Now, prior to that, the only other country I ever like explored in was like Korea and Japan. So the public transport in Korea and Japan is so convenient. Like, I would swear right now, so effing convenient. And so I just assumed that like, oh, other countries are like this, but no. Thank God my sister booked a taxi before we even arrived in Italy, because I didn't know how the heck to get around. And then when we arrived in Positano, there were no taxis, but there were buses. But the buses wouldn't come that often, and they were packed. Every bus was packed, and it was so hot outside. So we're like, it's walkable, but it's so hot we would pass out. There's buses, but they're overpacked, and they're just passing the station because they can't put any more people on. I don't know how to get a taxi, but I see a taxi place, and it looks like they cost like $80. And so they were like scooter rental places, car rental places, but we didn't think about that at all. Like, I kind of assumed it would be a little easier than it actually was, but you have to really go in like knowing what to expect regarding transportation, because the last thing you want to do is get stranded somewhere. And I've definitely been stranded somewhere many, many, many times in my traveling experience. So if there is public transportation, you need to know how to get either the ticket. Is it an app? Do you have to get the physical ticket? Is it cash? Like, do you have enough cash for it? Like, that kind of thing is definitely something you need to know. Schedules as well. Can you find the schedule for the bus or train online? Like, is it, things like that. That's something I really want to like warn people about, because getting stranded is not fun, especially if you don't speak the country's language. The other thing kind of ties into this, which is internet. So obviously you need internet to also figure out everything I just mentioned, right? So these days there's like eSIM, so you can get an eSIM card without having to take out your phone's card, like things like that. So I actually haven't done that yet, because I didn't know that was a thing until after I came back from my recent trip. So what I was doing was I was going to the kiosks in the airport and getting a physical temporary SIM card, which I told my sister that that's something that I do when I go to Korea, is I go to the kiosk in the airport and they give you a SIM card for like 30 days, like, and it's maybe like $20, like it's not expensive. And she was like, okay, cool. And then when we arrived there, she was like, this looks sus, like this looks sketchy. And I was like, well, I told you, like, this is how we get the internet. So she didn't want to do it because it was like sus, but I did it. And then I was the only one who had internet on my phone. So just know that like you can trust the kiosks in the airport. That's why they're there. However, if you arrive in your destination country at a time when the kiosk isn't opened, you're kind of screwed. So I would think about that as well. I try to pick a time that I'm landing where it would be a time that it's open, like sometime in the day, not like super late or super early in the morning. But just know the airport does have Wi-Fi, but after you leave the airport, like you're completely on your own. So even if a lot of places do have Wi-Fi, like you could tell yourself like, oh, I'll just go to a cafe and then get Wi-Fi and then find my next move and then go to another place with Wi-Fi, and you don't need Wi-Fi in between. That is not safe. You need internet the entire time. You never know when you're gonna need to like look up like a number, like let's just say you need to translate something. There's an emergency. You can't do it because you don't have internet. It's like that kind of thing. So yeah. Also, I use Verizon, right? But whenever I turn on roaming on my settings, it still doesn't work. It literally still doesn't work. So I don't know if I was supposed to call Verizon, but I always just went with the physical SIM cards anyway. So no matter what you choose, just make sure you figure it out before you go there. The next thing I wanted to talk about was meeting people. So obviously, if you are solo traveling, a big part of that is meeting people, coming across to people who share experiences with, learn their stories. People want to learn your story. That is such a beautiful part of solo traveling, especially when you're staying in hostels. I've met lifelong friends because of solo travel, because you have to be a certain kind of person with like a certain kind of mindset to put yourself in those kinds of situations. And when you want to experience like the most out of life, like you have to gain more knowledge. You have to explore situations you wouldn't normally put yourself in, safely, of course. So I remember when I solo traveled for the first time and I ran away from home. I laugh now, but it was so serious. Like when I did it, I was 19. That is insane. But I booked a hostel stay right on Venice Beach, which is so dangerous. But I remember waking up the first morning and I went to the kitchen and there was this man in his like mid-30s, late 30s, I don't know, cutting up a cantaloupe, and I was like, oh, where did you get that? And he was like, oh, there's this beautiful market like right down the street. They have a bunch of fresh fruit. The rest was literally history. They lived the coolest life, the literal coolest life. We went hiking in Malibu on my birthday. Did I ever think I would do that when I went to LA? No. I was just like, oh, I'll go to the beach. Did I expect to be in a freaking BuzzFeed video because I was staying in a hostel? No. See, these experiences just find you when you put yourself out there, and I'm the most shy and awkward person you will ever meet. It's so hard for me to talk to people. I just went to a cafe in this town, and I hid in the corner because it was so crowded. But there's something about traveling. It's like, it's just such, I don't even know how to explain it, but I feel like you get what I mean. I feel like if you are interested in solo traveling, like you have this mindset that like you are understanding what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Okay. But be careful meeting people. Never get alone with somebody that you don't know, even if you feel safe. You just never know. It could be a girl, it could be a guy, you know, sex trafficking is so real, and I need everybody to be so cautious about that. There's definitely been some suspicious situations that I've been in, and I thank God that I made it out safe, but I would just, first of all, never go to a second location with somebody. Second of all, don't be alone. Don't get yourself in a situation where you're alone with somebody that you don't know. Just make sure you're prioritizing your safety. Like, meet people, but prioritize your safety. The next thing. What time of year are you going? This, oh my God. Okay. I keep seeing TikToks of places that I want to go. Like, Greece is my next destination. I have Greece and Copenhagen. I have my eyes on those places, right? But Greece in the summertime looks so packed. So I'm thinking of going like maybe September, October, I don't know. But Positano, for example, me and my sister went there last year, and summer there is probably like the most popular time for traveling. However, can you imagine the amount of tourists that will already be in a touristy spot in the summer? Like, summer just makes everything more crowded, I think, especially if it's in a place that has temporary seasons. Like, if it's a place that's, you know, hot all year round, then maybe it wouldn't be as crowded as if it was like a place where it gets cold in the winter. I don't know if that makes sense. I also don't really know if that's true, but I do know in the summer places are more crowded. So Positano in Italy is like a coastal town on the Amalfi Coast, and so we went in October so that it would be a little less hot but also have less tourists. And I think we won out in that sense, where there were less crowds, but also like the weather was still warm enough but not so hot. Now, I will say, maybe because I was gonna say we didn't do much swimming, but it wasn't that it was cold. It was just that like it was so windy, and then it stormed one night, and we were only there for a couple days, so maybe that's why. I'm not trying to say like it was so cold we couldn't swim, because it was still so hot, actually hotter than we expected. So I'll definitely research like what the climate is going to be when you go there, because I'm also seeing right now, like where I want to go in Greece, it has a high wind warning, which means a lot of go-arounds with flights. So I also saw a ferry got canceled, and when I was thinking of how I'm going to get from point A to point B, like I mentioned before, I was thinking I would arrive in Athens and then take a ferry to Paros rather than a flight. But it looks like a ferry got canceled because of the wind or storm, I don't know. So I have to keep an eye out on that and like research more about that. It's very much just in my head, like I haven't actually like put in the effort to make this trip happen yet. It's just what I have my eye on next. But I have already started looking at like how to rent a car, what companies are best for renting a little car or scooter in Paros, like that kind of thing. So yeah, I wanted to bring up that time of year does matter, also regarding like prices too. So yeah. The next thing I wanted to talk about was buying stuff. Mainly talking about how I want to maybe give a tip and trick about how to pack lightly and what kind of bags you should be using. Now, it really depends on the place you're going. Are you going to a place where you're going to be buying like some gifts to bring back to people to bring home for people? Because when I went to Italy, I brought like a bunch of little gifts for this friend that I have, but I didn't pack a lot of room. I mean, granted, the things I did bring home were very small. However, it adds weight to your bag. So when you're traveling somewhere on a plane and you need to weigh your bag and it's a certain weight, and then you go to that place and you buy more things and put it in your bag that makes it heavier, it might make it too heavy to the point where you can't put it in the thing. You have to check it, which makes things a little more inconvenient if you weren't trying to check any baggage at all. So I would keep in mind, like, are you willing to check a bag on your way back? Are you willing to check a bag on your way there, like to just bring extra room? Or are you like strict on traveling light, going from this country to that country to that country, like straight, like no home stops, you know? Now for me, I love fashion. I love like dressing up and taking cute pics. So it's so hard for me to pack light. When I went to Korea for the first time and LA, this was when I was like 19, 20, I packed so light. For me, I need everything to be versatile. The main thing that's so important to me when it comes to traveling, bags, luggage is the, what's the word? How I can use it, the functionality of the bag. I love a cute bag. My Miu Miu bag, don't get me started. I love a Miu Miu bag. However, I have this bag and it is the best, literally the best travel bag I've ever gotten in my life. It's from like an airplane company, because I'm also into aviation, but we'll talk about that on another day. It has so many pockets. It zips closed. A zip closed bag, don't even get me started. And oh my gosh, the amount of pockets, the size too, it's like a square shape, so it fits. You could fit, you wouldn't be able to think that I could fit an iPad in here, right? But I can, because somehow that bag just fits so much. I'll put the link to it in this description, but I just want you to know I'm not sponsored or anything. I would take a sponsorship, but I don't think they're gonna see this. But I just recommend this to everybody because it could be the personal item that you carry, not even the carry-on. So make sure that you have a lot of versatility when it comes to the things that you're bringing. Like the tripod that I use is one of the Shy Girl vlogging tripods that's just a MagSafe on your phone. I'll put that in the description as well, just because it honestly changed my life. I don't want to say that I felt embarrassed using a tripod in public, but my social anxiety is so bad, and I've been working on exposure therapy, but it's just awkward because I'm always feeling like people are looking at me weird. Like when I walk into a room, I feel like people look at me like I have 3 heads, and just being perceived gives me the ick. So I don't even know why I'm making this right now, but I do recommend this tripod that I use. I mean, obviously you need to have MagSafe on your phone, but for the longest time, I really hated MagSafe. I didn't like the way the circle looked on my case, on my phone, but it is worth it. Truly, it is worth it. The amount of tripod-ish things you can put on a MagSafe, just like this green thing that I showed you before that you can stick on things, as well as the tripod that I'm using right now, which I'll put in the description so you can see it and maybe buy it. They're both from Amazon, so. But yeah. I'll also maybe make a video on my vlogging channel on how I pack specifically, especially if I'm trying to bring a bunch of outfits and I'm going somewhere for like maybe a little longer. So I'll keep that in mind. Maybe I'll make something like that. I honestly find it so fun. Packing is so fun. Like, you have to romanticize everything, honestly. So that's pretty much all the points I wanted to make, but the main important thing that I think comes with solo traveling is the existentialism of it all. I have gone through so much growth as an individual on this journey of life. You will learn so much about yourself, so much. You're gonna be in situations that you never thought you would be in, and it opens your eyes. You grow spiritually. I need everybody to like experience a solo travel at least once in their life. I feel so bad for like my parents, because they don't even have passports, and the only thing I want from them in life is to just experience like that kind of thing, solo travel. Especially if there's like a place you're drawn to. I do believe in the fact that you are drawn to places for reasons. I saw something, it was like, if you're drawn to a certain country, it's because your soulmate's there and your story's already been written. Now, I will say, I don't think like you should go somewhere because you think a soulmate's there. I will say, you romantic endeavors in a foreign country like are bound to happen. It's just kind of a natural thing, but I wouldn't think like, oh, my soulmate is here, I'm drawn to here because a soulmate is there. I would be like, oh, I'm drawn to there because there are experiences that I'm meant to have there. More of that type of thing. So I will say, I used to, one of my friends, we were talking about solo traveling not too long ago, and they were like, oh, well, but you can't enjoy it with another person. And I was like, well, it's a story to tell. You know, one day you'll be able to tell the story of like what you experienced there. But it's like, yeah, after solo traveling for years and years and years, it is nice to experience things with other people. Like, yeah, I would go and travel with somebody, but it's more of like a personal journey when it comes to traveling solo. Like, obviously things are super fun when you can enjoy it with other people. However, it's more of like how you develop yourself, your soul as a human being, how you can become more enlightened, how you can learn more, experience more. It's like some things have to be done by yourself. And no one's saying you can't bring someone with you. Like, you don't have, no one is forcing you to like solo travel. But there is a big difference I noticed, because I traveled for the first time with somebody else in October with my sister. Up until then, I had never taken a plane with anybody, never traveled with anybody ever. For like 6 years, I never traveled with anybody because I didn't have anyone to travel with. And I also feel like when someone's traveling with you, like, you won't experience the most out of it because you won't be putting yourself in the same situations that you would be if you were by yourself. So there is a big difference. Yeah, I want to travel with people. I want to meet someone and travel with them one day, but I also feel like I know who I am now. You know, you need to you, I also noticed something about solo traveling is like, a lot of people don't know who they are. Even if they're older, they don't know who they are. I would say most people don't know who the heck they are until they are put in that kind of situation. So, I'm such an existentialist, I swear. I could literally rant about this for ages and ages and ages. I just think that it's such a crucial part of life to question things, look around, experience things, learn, enlighten yourself, you know? So, yeah. If anybody is solo traveling soon, let me know. I want you to be safe. I want you to be prepared. I want you to have fun, take cute pics, vids, and document, write, journal. And yeah, you will be in situations you are meant to be in. Things that are meant for you will happen for you, and it just opens a door in your life for more and more and more. I feel like the universe loves solo travelers and just travelers in general. The universe, I feel like, looks at people and are like, yeah, like, you're doing it right. Now, money, yes, money is a problem. That's why I haven't traveled in so long, because it's so expensive. And there were so many times where I went somewhere, I spent all my money, and I came back home in America to like no money in my bank account. And then I had to work for so long to save up the money back just to spend it all again. But you know what? It also, something important when it comes to traveling is budgeting. don't go to somewhere you can't afford, you know? There's so many places that are affordable, but also vacation time at work is also hard to get. So it's like a lot of times you need to, I guess, find out what's worth it. Like, I wouldn't go to a country that I didn't really feel so deeply about if I only got like 2 weeks off of work every like year. I would go to somewhere that my heart yearns for. Like, if I were to get 2 weeks off of work, that's all I get for the year, I would probably go to the one place that I can't stop thinking about, and then do it as cheaply as possible, but also as safely as possible. So it is complicated. Like, I'm not trying to say that it's like an easy thing. Like, obviously, like, when you're an adult and you have a job, you're responsible maybe for other people, you need to keep working a certain amount of hours for health insurance. Like, it's not easy a lot of the times, but when you do get the chance to do it, I think that you will not regret it. So yeah, I think I covered most of the things that I wish somebody told me when I was starting out solo traveling. And so, yeah. All right, guys, I think that's it for this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Let me know if you like it. Definitely subscribe, leave a like. It means so much to me. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.